Namaste, everyone. So we're going to continue our work on the core muscles today. So I think it's easier when we talk about the core to get this idea of the tummy and the abdominal muscles contracting, but the core is so much more than that. Not only have we got these superficial muscles, the rectus abdominis, but we've got the transverse abdominis that go all around the sides of across the tummy, around the sides of the body, and across the back, the lumbar area. We've also got the obliques at our sides, so the side waist. We've got these muscles which go diagonally, two sets of them, one way, one the other. We want to get into them today. We've got glutes and thighs, which all get involved, and also the back of the body, which is often harder to visualize. We've got these strong erector spinae muscles, and every time we draw ourselves up tall, that's the muscles that we're using. So these are the muscles that we've been working on the last couple of weeks, and it's much easier to work the ones at the front of the body. So you can see number 2 is our six-pack along the front of the body. And when we say connect the core, that's quite easy to get an idea of what we're doing then. But what I want to do today is work with more of the others. So you've got the crisscross muscles at the side of your waist, the obliques, number 3. And you've got the erector spinae muscles at the top, number 5, that go all up the spine. If I just flick to a different picture, if I can. Right, this is the one I put on Facebook. So it's much easier to get an idea of the front of the body than the back of the body. So we're going to work those glutes today, and we're going to think about the connection of the spinal muscles, as well as on the left-hand side, we want to get these side obliques working and feel the works that the thighs and the pelvis do. So let's see if we can engage with them today. Starting from a comfortable seated position. Settle yourself down. Really think about your contact with the ground, the way that your hips and pelvis are helping the spine align. The head floats up to the sky. The eyes either gently close or defocus down at the floor. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Relax the hands. Start to focus more on the breath, breathing in and out of the nose if that's okay. And come inwards. Use every inhale to deepen the breath, expand the torso, the belly, the ribs, the chest rise. Every exhale, trying to lengthen it now, relaxing everything down. And right on the end of the exhale, you can use those abdominals to gently pull the tummy towards the spine, squeezing the air out of the lungs. Good. Without losing your posture, using those strong back muscles to draw you upwards. Bring your hands to your heart. Nice deep breath in. Link the fingers together, push the palms away, drop the head, allow the back to round. Nice stretch out of those back muscles. Inhale, lifting the hands up towards the sky. Take a breath there, softening the elbows, stretching the palms up again. And letting the fingers separate now as the out-breath takes the hands down to the floor. Just the left hand is going to float up as we inhale and over as we exhale into a side bend. So use this time to breathe into the left lung, sending the breath to that side of the body, feeling the gentle expansion between the ribs, up along the arm, along the neck. Bend the right elbow a little more to come a little deeper for the last couple of breaths. Ready to rise up on the inhale, coming all the way up. Bringing the hands down to the heart. And again, inhale, lift the chest. Those back muscles are helping that. Exhale, push the palms away, let them round. So the back rounds, those muscles get a nice stretch out. And then the inhale uses them again to lift the torso upright, lift the spine, soften the elbows. Inhale again. And keeping that length in the spine, bring the hands down, touching the mat. Inhale, just the right hand, floating up. Then over we come into our side stretch. Gaze stays forward, ear towards the ground. Sending our attention and our breath into the right side of the body. Bending this left elbow is going to help feel into that side stretch even more without lifting the hip off of the floor. Inhale to rise up. Hands come back to the heart. So if you're sitting cross-legged, now's a good time to change the cross of the legs. Of course, you can have the legs in front of you, knees bent if you prefer. And however you're sitting, have your hands relaxed on the knees. On an inhale, lift the chest, but also this time lifting the gaze, nice long back of the neck. And then on the exhale, let's sink back, dropping the pelvis back, dropping the head down. So seated cat-cows. On the inhale, pelvis tilts forward and we move up through the spine, opening the front of the body, lifting the gaze. As we exhale, we tilt the pelvis back, rounding the back, dropping the head. Seeing if you can feel the muscles working to do this. One side of the body contracting as the other side reaches and stretches out to allow that movement. So one group of muscles contracts as the others relax. Front of the body, back of the body, working together. Bringing it to stillness now. And have the feet on the ground, knees bent. We want to feel into the sides of our body, the side waist, where we've got these oblique muscles that help us to twist. So bringing your hands down to the mat. Inhale here in the center. And on an exhale, let your knees drop over to the left and look to the right. Come into a gentle twist. Inhale up to center and let the knees drop to the left. You look to the right. And I want you to move slowly and mindfully so that we get a sense of these muscles and the work that they're doing. So see if you can feel those obliques firing up, doing the work, helping support the body as it twists, taking the torso from side to side. Once you've done an even number of twists on each side, coming back to the center again. And you can stretch your legs out long, move any blankets or blocks out of the way for now. Ready for your forward fold, working dynamically into it in that wave-like action to start with, and then we're going to hold in it. Toes point up to the sky. You can move the flesh a little out of the way to get really good contact with those sit bones. And then inhale, lifting the hands up. Exhale, fold forward. Let the knees bend if they want to. And then wave the hands along the floor and back up on the inhale. Keep this going, okay? Try when you find the length in the body, as you reach up on the inhale, try and keep that long spine as flat as possible for as long as possible. And at the last minute, you may need to release the knees, and then the spine and the head can drop down and round a little at the last moment, but try and hinge first of all. Last time, this time I'm going to stay there. Coming forward as far as you can, you'll feel that point where the back wants to round, pausing there. And then hands either on the floor or resting on the legs. Let's inhale, bend the knees, lift the chest, and see if you can extend through the crown of the head. Exhale slowly, coming into the forward bend, reaching out through the heels to straighten the legs a little more. Keep working like that. So this could be a very subtle movement now. You could be slightly bending the knees to release those hamstrings and stretch out through the spine, and then trying to keep that length as you bow down. Couple more nice, long, deep breaths, fully relaxing into your fullest forward bend. And then rising up, we're going to use these core muscles to support the spine as we lift. Start by raising the hands as the upper arms align with the ears, the head lifts. You feel those muscles kick in as you lift the torso up and the arms come down on the exhale. So those strong back muscles drawing the spine upwards. Good. Let's come down to lying on the floor, but unless you've got any issues around the pelvis or coccyx, we're going to take 3 breaths to get there. If your back or your tummy doesn't like this, then we will meet you there on the floor. Otherwise, hands on the knees, feet hip width apart. Inhale, get that length, try and keep a nice straight back to start with. So we're tilting back. Pause. Breathe there. Engage all of these core muscles. Okay, we're going to start to need to round the back soon as we're coming down to the floor. So second breath, breathing in, feel the thighs power up as they control this descent. And now you can roll down for the last part of this movement as slowly and in as controlled a way as you can. Come down, ready for bridge pose. So relax the shoulders and head, walk the feet so that they're under the knees, palms face down on the mat. And on an inhale, going to lift the pelvis, tilt the hips a little as we roll up the spine. On the exhale, we roll back down the spine. Today, I really want you to use all these muscles. So the glutes, the buttocks fire up as you lift the pelvis. And at the top of the movement, with the chest lifted, the hips lifted, the back muscles need to contract a little to help with that front body opening. And on the exhale down, it's again those erector spinae back muscles that control the descent. They are linked into each of the individual vertebrae. So as you roll down, one vertebra at a time touches the floor. And if it comes down in chunks, that's something to work on. It means those muscles aren't necessarily talking to the brain. So lifting up one last time, and as slowly as you can, feel those core muscles supporting the spine as we roll it down onto the floor. Hips coming down last, and feel the release as the hips touch the floor and widen and relax on the mat. Have a little hug of the knees if you'd like to, before we take our next position. So this is called dead bug pose, where we keep the knees in the air, the feet are parallel with them, and the hands reach up to the sky, palms facing each other, fingers pointing up. From here, we're going to take some limb movements, trying to stabilize the spine. So keeping that in place. So we can inhale in the center, exhale, the right hand can go back, inhale up, the left hand can go back on the exhale. Inhale each time back to center. Now, as you do this, bring in those core muscles. If you anchor the back onto the ground, you should suddenly feel some engagement around the abdominals, around the side of the body, maybe around the hips and the thighs. Keep the breath going. Okay, and when we've done an even number on each side of the arms, we want you to bring in the leg muscles. So pause the arms for a moment. Inhale here at the center. And then on the exhale, you can take the left foot away. Inhale back. Exhale, right foot out, pushing through the ball of the foot as the leg straightens. How is that core engagement? Okay, these movements are easy if we don't engage the core, but it's not supporting the spine. It's going to ache after a while. Keep the toes flexed, keeps those leg muscles alive. Now let's bring in both the arms and the legs at the same time. So inhale at the center. As we exhale, the right hand goes back, the left foot goes forward. Inhale. On the exhale, left hand back, right leg out. Keep that going, opposite arms and legs all the time. That core engagement is holding the spine in place. It's not arching up. You feel nice and anchored on the ground. Couple more. Keep the breath nice and smooth and long. And when you've done an equal number on each side, come back to the center. You can hug the knees in. That feels nice. Release all of those muscles. And your choice here, you can either roll onto your side and gently push yourself up to seated position, or just for fun, you could cross the ankles, hold onto the big toes, and use those core muscles to flip yourself up. Not worrying if that doesn't happen for you at this time, or indeed if it's ever right for your body. So come all the way over now to tabletop pose. I'm going to move the torso around, but using those core muscles, seeing if we can feel into them a bit as we do so. So from tabletop, drop the hips back as if we were going to child pose. And as you inhale, come across to your left and forward. Let the elbows bend. Take the torso around, and on the exhale, to the right and back. And again, as slowly as you can with this movement, and feel what's happening in the thighs, in the side of the body, in the spine. Keep the abdominals engaged all the way around, so on the inhale and the exhale, and then take it the other way. So twice round, going to the right, then forward, seeing how far you can go in that circle. Forward, sides, back. Exploring the control that you can exercise, using the muscles as best you can. And when you've done that twice round each way, resting back in child pose. And then slithering forward onto your belly. Ready to work either in Cobra, or if you know Cobra is not right for you, if Sphinx is better, that's fine. Have the forearms on the floor. Otherwise, we've got hands under shoulders. So for both postures, glue the tops of the feet to the floor and think about the thighs and the glutes keeping the pelvic area on the ground. Widening the feet or narrowing the feet sometimes helps keep this lumbar area relaxed. So you can experiment with that. Turning the toes in sometimes helps as well. And on an inhale, lift the chest, look forward. It can be a nice gentle rise. It doesn't have to be high. If you're working Cobra, these elbows want to stay close to the body rather than winging out to the side. And then see if you can feel into which muscles are doing the work. The idea in Cobra is that these upper back muscles draw the torso up, the lumbar spine stays relaxed. So we need to engage the abdominal muscles in order to relax these lumbar area muscles. And to see if the muscles are doing the work that we want them to, or whether the arms are helping a little too much, let's hover the hands off of the floor and see how that feels. Now you might not get the height that you did before, doesn't matter at all, because after a few sessions, after a few goes, placing the hands down onto the floor lightly, you might find you can lift up a lot higher than you did before, because the muscles now know what they're doing. So they've worked out, we need to work a little bit harder. So one more nice deep breath in Cobra. And then lying down on the floor, crocodile pose. You can come back to child pose if you prefer, but a little sway of the hips. And then rolling onto your right hand side. Either you can stay like I am up on the forearm, or you could bring the arm down onto the floor and support the head with the hands. This left hand can be in front of the body to stop you rolling forward or back. Look down the body and see if we can get everything in line. Shoulders, hips, knees, ankles. Flex the feet. And we're going to fire up these glutes a little bit more. So these bottom muscles, let's inhale as we lift the top leg. Use the glute muscles to do it. Exhale the foot down again. So it doesn't matter if we don't get super high. We're trying to feel when that muscle engages. Engage all around the core to do this. Again, it's a movement that could be done really easily without effort, but we want to use these core muscles to support the movement. This time, let's see if we can inhale and hold the foot there for the exhale. So keep the breath going. On the next inhale, can you lift a little higher? Then you'll feel the glutes, and then down again. Good. Rolling onto your tummy. Having a little sway, releasing the hips. All you need to do now is roll over onto your other side. I'm going to flip round so that I'm facing you. Line yourself up first. Flexing the feet. When you're ready, inhale to lift that top leg. Exhale to lower it. Feel that muscle working, using your glutes to do the lifting. Squeeze the bum. Can you hold it here on the next inhale? Keep the breath going. Inhale to lift a little higher and exhale down again. Remember, if you don't squeeze your bum, don't expect anyone else to. And then you can roll onto your tummy and gently press yourself up to a kneeling position. Come into tabletop again. Ready to do our table balances. So you're welcome to take this on forearms if you prefer. You can do the same movements. Otherwise, hands under shoulders. Bring the knees slightly closer together. It's going to help with the balance. Inhale to lengthen through the spine to prepare. On your next inhale, taking the right foot out behind. Flex through the foot, lengthen through the crown of the head. And on the exhale, draw the knee up towards the chest, look towards the knee. Keep that going. Inhaling out. Exhaling, drawing everything into the midline. If you want to, you can bring the opposite hand in now, lifting it out on the inhale and drawing the elbow towards the knee on the exhale. And what we're looking for is all of these central muscles, like a corset around the spine, to be active in this pose. Let the spine round on the exhale. Last time before coming down to the floor. So doing that on the other side, taking that left foot back now. On the inhale, lengthen the spine. On the exhale, drawing the knee forward, allowing the back to fly up so there's room underneath. As you inhale out, flex the foot and reach through the crown of the head, and you can start introducing the opposite arm if you want to challenge your balance. Bringing the elbow and knee together, looking towards that knee, contracting those muscles on the exhale. Good. And coming down again. Now let's see how those core muscles are doing. We're going to come forward into a low lunge, and it can be a struggle to swing and heave our leg through. We're going to see if using those core muscles is going to make it a little easier. So you're going to take the right foot all the way through. You can lift it up and back a little, and then again, use that movement with the core flying up through the back to plant the foot down between the hands. If it doesn't get there, you can lift and shuffle it forward. So we all end up in a low lunge. And from here, tuck the back toes to come into a high lunge. You can drop the knee on the exhale if you want to, but on the inhale, let's lift the heart, look forward. On the exhale, get a little more stretch in the thighs. Push back through that back heel while still lifting through the crown of the head. And today we're going to grow up into our warriors rather than drop down into them. So let's start by spinning that back heel down to the floor, plant it down, strong legs now. Lift up onto that front thigh and bring your right arm to rest on the thigh. The left hand comes to the hip and you're in your side angle. So remember to press on the outside edge of the foot, reaching up through the crown of the head, finding that diagonal line of energy in the body. Roll this top shoulder back. Keep breathing. Knee stays over ankle. If you want to, you can lift the top arm. Don't let that distract you from keeping the body open. Ready to rise up into warrior two. Press down into the feet. Lift the arms, shoulder height. That front knee stays bent. Sink down the hips. Good. And look down that front arm. Feel strong. Hands can always come to the hips. You know that if you want to. How's the core doing? It's that tummy still engaged all around, sideways. Hips and thighs are working. The back is working to keep the chest lifted. We're not leaning forward, remember? Good. And then inhale, straighten the front leg. Turn the toes towards the front and step the feet together. Come to the front of your mat, turn forwards and arrive in mountain pose. Feet can either be touching or hip width apart. Roll the shoulders back. Lift the heart using those back muscles. Tucking the chin to keep the neck nice and long. Pressing down through the feet. Feel that rebound up through the legs. A little bit of engagement in the thighs. Tailbone tucks under towards the floor. Feel the heart rate begin to slow and the breath settle as we come into stillness. And then we're going to do that all on the other side. So bringing your hands to your heart. Let's inhale to float up, nice stretch up. And then exhale, forward fold, down to the ground, touching the hands to the ground. Let's step it back into downward facing dog. You can stay in down dog for a couple of breaths if you want to. Or you can come down to kneeling. And we're going to do our balancing again. So this time, if you want to, you can do this in downward facing dog. It's absolutely fine to do it in tabletop position as we did before. If you're going to do it in down dog, bring the feet a little closer together. Again, it'll help with the balance. And on the inhale, we're taking the right foot back, whether we're in tabletop or downward facing dog. On the exhale, we're drawing the knee under the chest, looking towards it. Good. Take the foot up and back. Inhale. Exhale. Knee comes towards the chest. And again, if you really want to laugh, you can try the opposite hand when you're in down dog. Really strong core muscles and good balance needed, just for a laugh. And come to settle with feet and hands or knees and hands on the floor, ready to take it to the other side. Left leg lifts up behind you. Inhale. Exhale. Draw the knee forward. If you're in downward dog, then you're going to come forward a little on that movement. The back rounds wherever you are with this. Contracting the core muscles. If you really want to, you can lift the hand, the opposite arm, just for a challenge. Or keep working with the legs. Coming to stillness, you're welcome to drop down to kneeling. We're going to come into our low lunge again. So lifting the foot, the left foot this time a little off the mat, swing that knee forwards, planting the foot down, adjusting it if you need to so that the knee ends up over the ankle and dropping the knee down to the floor. Good. I'm going to switch round so that you can see me and I can see you as we rise up again. So from our low lunge, tuck the toes under, lift into a higher lunge. Inhale, lift the chest a little, look forward, reaching back through that back heel, keeping the length in the spine, sink down into your lunge. Nice stretch out for the thighs. And then we're going to grow our warriors. So plant the foot down, spin that heel down into the floor. And you can bring your left arm to rest on the left thigh. The right hand comes to the hip. Establish yourself in your side angle. Press down into the back foot, lift up through the body, out through the crown of the head. And breathe. Feel strong, feel anchored. Good. Coming into warrior two next. Lifting up, hands come to shoulder height. Again, don't lose the core engagement. Feels even stronger, this posture, when you fire up the thighs, the glutes, the abdominal muscles, the side waist, those erector spinae muscles. Lift a proud warrior chest. Lovely. And then inhale, straightening your front leg. Exhale, turning the feet, dropping the hands, and then step the feet together. And you're at the top of your mat. So take a moment in Tadasana. If you want to, you can close your eyes. Keep the breath going. We're going to do something a little different for our balance today. So I want you to focus on your left foot first of all. It's going to be your standing foot. As usual, lift the toes, spread them out, really plant the foot down onto the ground. And then when you're ready, when you feel balanced, you take your gaze and you lift the right knee, either touching the right knee, or if the hip flexors allow, you can link the fingers around the front of it. Flex the foot, keep everything engaged. Standing knee is a little soft, so don't lock that. And breathe here. You can stay in stillness, or again, just for a fun challenge, you can lift the arm up, the opposite arm on the inhale. Exhale, bring the elbow towards the knee. Nice and slow and controlled. Think about those core muscles. I want you to imagine that you've got a corset all around the center of your torso, keeping you supported, but it's lashed to a pole behind you as well, so it's holding you up. It's that sort of support that you have in your body when all of the core muscles are engaged. Well done. Wobbles are fine, remember? Let's come down to standing on both feet. So the challenge of it is to keep the breath going, keep the muscles working whilst being in the pose. And stillness is fine. Stillness is great if we can do that. If you want to add that extra challenge, you can. So feel the difference between one side to the other before we start thinking about our right foot, spreading the toes, planting it down, drawing the left knee up. When you feel balanced and focused, you might hold the knee or touch the leg is fine. Stay here breathing. Or if you feel steady, if you feel you've got that core engagement, that support, the rod is behind you, imagine you can lift the opposite arm. Exhale, elbow comes towards the knee. Slow and mindful. It doesn't matter if it comes all the way or if it points towards it. This is encouraging the core muscles to fire up. You'll also feel the thigh muscle probably doing a bit of work in the bent leg. Can we do a couple more? Good, keep trying. Well done. And bring the foot down to the floor and feel the relief of being back on 2 feet again. Lovely. Bring the hands together. Come to the front of your mat, ready to float down again. We're going to inhale, rising up. Exhale, bowing softly forwards, touching the hands to the floor. And we're going to step back into downward facing dog or kneeling. And come to kneeling for a moment. I'll show you two different options. We really want to fire up the obliques for this next exercise. So you can either do it from kneeling, hover your toes, your knees a little off the floor, and take the hips from side to side, resting the knees in between sides if you want to, or you can do this in downward facing dog. Bending the knees and coming into a real squat, a side twisting squat on the inhales. Okay, so you can always change your mind, and of course you can do this on your forearms. If you're coming into down dog with me, hands are a little in front of the shoulders, toes tucked, hips lift up into the air. We're not too worried about the heels coming down to the floor and the knees being straight today. It's all about the twisting and feeling into these obliques. So let's inhale, exhale. On the next inhale, bend the knees, take your hips to the right hand side. Feel that twist in the body like we did at the beginning, remember? Exhale through to center. Inhale the other side. Exhaling into down dog or kneeling. Inhale on the twist. Couple more times each side. Good. Keep it going. Once you've done an equal number on each side, come to resting. Kneeling back into child pose if you want to. Couple of breaths. And then bring yourself to sitting with the feet in front of you, ready for boat pose. Okay, so boat pose uses all of our core muscles. If balancing back on your sit bones is not good for the spine or your tummy, then you can do this on the floor like we would do bridge pose, but try and keep the shoulders a little lifted so that we really make sure we're working the tummy and the core side muscles and not just lifting the legs up and the arms up. Okay, so I trust you, you know your body, and remember it's the core that we are trying to work. So let's prepare ourselves for the boat. You can keep the hands on the floor, you can keep the hands behind the legs if you wish. Let's have a little test out of our posture. So inhale, we want to keep this lift that we find on the inhale, lift that chest. Exhale, rock back into boat pose. Find the balance, flex the toes, keep the breath going. Is everything drawn in around the spine? Maybe you can take the hands away from the legs. Maybe you can lift the ankles so that they're in line with the knees. Breathe. Have you lost that posture? Lift the heart and exhale out. Now you know what the pose is about. Hopefully you felt the muscles that you're using. I'm going to give you a few more options. You can work in the posture. Of course, you can come out and rest if you want to, and you've got that option of lying on the back if you want to. Okay, here we go. Prepare yourself for bridge pose with an inhale. Keep this lift in the body. Engage the core. Exhale, rock back. And keep the breath going, okay? A ragged breath tells us that we're struggling a little. So just be mindful of that. Can you lift the feet, shins parallel with the floor? Can you take the hands away? If not, bring them back to the floor or to the back of the legs for now. And then if you want to work strongly in this posture, we're going to inhale as we are. On the exhale, push through the balls of the feet and straighten the legs. And then release the knees again. Keep that going. Use the exhales to really stretch you out and notice whether you're rounding the back in order to come more into the position. If so, come back to bent knees, maybe hands behind the legs or on the floor. If you really want to, you can stay now for a couple of breaths with the legs extended. You might feel some shaking going on in the muscles. I'm kindly just demonstrating that just so that you know, you understand. Or you can keep the knees bent. Let's make this our last deep breath. Inhale, exhale, release down to the floor. Come onto your back, hug the knees. Have a little rock and roll to massage if you want to. Really good work. You'll be glad to know that was the peak pose for the class. And now we can do some stretching out of the muscles. Dropping the feet to the floor. Bring the hands down beside the hips. Ready for bridge pose again, walking the feet up towards the hips. And when you feel that the ankles are under the knees, which means just at the point where the heels lift off the floor and plant them down, relax the head, relax the shoulders, relax the muscles to start with, and then making good contact with the floor with the feet. On the inhale, engage the glutes, lift the hips, roll up the spine, lifting the heart at the top of the posture. Exhale slowly, long exhale to roll back down the spine, noticing if it's smoother perhaps than at the beginning of the class. And now if you want to add in arm movements, as you inhale and lift the hips, the hands can float up and the arms are taken overhead to rest on the floor behind at the top of the inhale. And then on the exhale, they float back down to the sides of the hips. Inhaling, lifting and opening the body. Exhale, roll slowly down the spine. One more time. Make this a lovely high lift and a really slow, controlled exhale. Coming down, those hips last. Feel all the muscles relax when you get to the end of that breath. Good. And if you want to take another hug of the knees and a little rock and roll. And then stretch the legs out long. Feet are together, toes pointing towards the sky. Everything in line, shoulders, hips, knees, all in a straight line in the middle of your mat. Palms on the floor. And we're going to do palm tree pose. So I want you to imagine a tall palm tree on a beach being blown by the wind. It's going to bow one way and then the other to get a lovely side stretch into the body. So from center, keep the hips where they are. I want you to shuffle your shoulders over to the right. So along the floor, don't let the hips lift off the floor. Take them over to the right as far as you can go. And then start walking the heels over to the right as well. So we're taking the body into a C shape, also called a banana pose, this one. Feel the stretch down that left side of the body. If you want to, you can lift the arms up and over the head and onto the floor behind you. For some people, that's a lovely extension to the stretch. Some people, that doesn't feel comfortable in their bodies. So if that's not right for you, bring the hands back down beside the hips. Breathe into the side of the body. If you want to close your eyes, you can do. Let the feet and the legs be together if you can. It'll increase the stretch that you're feeling. Use the breath to take you deeper into this posture. Maybe the shoulders and the heels can shuffle a little further to the right after a few breaths. Use those exhales to relax and release, opening the body. Last couple of breaths on this side. And bringing the arms back down to the sides if they were overhead. Wriggle your shoulders and your heels back into the center of your mat now. Line yourself up. Notice how one side of the body feels compared to the other, and then we'll go the other way. So let's start wriggling the shoulders deliberately over to the left. You'll feel the point where you've got resistance and that hip wants to lift. Stop there. And then walk the heels to the left as well. keeping the legs together, the hips on the floor. Come into your curve and then decide whether you want to extend that by lifting the arms up and overhead, or whether you're happier with the arms down by the side. And then bring the attention to the breath and let that work with you. Inhale space all down the outside curve of the body, and exhale to release the tension. Allow the body to softly expand. Nice stretch out for those muscles. Maybe you can shift a little further into the bend, maybe not. How is your palm tree feeling? Being gently blown by the breeze. And make this the last deep, long exhale. Bring the hands back to the sides of the body and wriggle yourself back into the center. If you like the hug of the knees, another opportunity to do that. And then I want you to decide how to spend your relaxation. You can drop the feet to the floor, keeping the knees bent, and they can rest together with the feet wide apart. Or you can straighten the legs out, a little bit of space between the feet, and let the toes drop away from each other. Hands can be down beside the hips, with the palms facing up to the sky. If you want to get on any extra layers, this is the time to do so. If you want to put socks on, or grab a blanket and put anything underneath your head that you want to. And when you feel settled, allow the eyes to gently close. Let yourself relax back into the mat, melting down. All those muscles, the strong muscles that we've used today, can take a rest now. And I'd like you to bring your attention into your core. That area around the torso, the barrel-shaped area that we've been working today, is the very center of your being. I want you to bring your attention to the area we call the solar plexus, just under the belly button, in that abdominal area. Go deep inside, at your very core. I want you to imagine there that there is a golden, glowing light in your very core. And visualize, if you can, this golden, glowing light slowly starting to get brighter, sending out its healing light, its warmth, into the abdominal muscles, around the tummy, around the lumbar area. With each breath, breathing strength into this light, this golden glow starts expanding, warming and soothing those muscles, nourishing as it expands now around the hips and the buttocks, moving up around the ribs, down over the thighs, up around the chest, and across the back of the shoulder blades. Warm, soothing, golden glow, gently expanding out, up over the shoulders, down the arms, down the legs, traveling down into the tips of the fingers, the tips of the toes, and up the neck, into the head, into the skull, softening the skin on your face, relaxing the jaw and the tongue in your mouth. Your whole body now bathed in this warming, soothing, nourishing golden light. Using the breath to breathe energy into this glow, and using the exhale to release any remaining tension. Feeling the muscles relax that little bit more with every exhale. The body heavy, melting down into the floor. Continuing with the long, even breath. Imagining now the golden glow starting to recede, gently fading, coming back towards the center of the body, coming back down into your core, into the center, the solar plexus, the very core of your being now, where this golden glow, this powerhouse always resides. Continuing to use the inhales to breathe energy into the body, sending a little movement through fingers and toes. Maybe having a stretch, a yawn. If you'd like to, drawing the knees up over the chest and having a little rock. Coming onto your right hand side when you're ready and resting there. And then pressing yourself gently up to seated. And let's finish our practice together by bringing the hands to the heart. We'll have a couple of stretches out and then chanting Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Inhale, taking the arms out to the side, reaching up. Exhale, sighing out as the hands come back down to the heart. Again, nice big energizing breath in. And exhaling, releasing out. Joining with me if you wish. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Finishing by taking a bow to yourself, to each other, to the practice that we share, and especially today, a bow to those core muscles that we've worked so hard. Namaste.